the way responsible pet owners do believe. That animal does not become 100 animals or more in 10 years.
Yeah, of course they have to be prevented from reproducing. The point is they can't sign a release form for the surgery. They can't say, yes, cut my nuts off, put me through surgery, the whole harassment of it. Who knows how much these animals go through suffering, because we can't medicate them properly, can we? No. We can't do anything. We can't ask them, how much pain are you in? We can't do any of that shit, and we just impose that crap on them as if we have a right to do it because it suits our fucking personal indulgence. And I say that's bullshit.
Okay, I'm having everybody frozen, so I don't see who has their hands up. But since nobody talked, like I said, I did have a moral issue with castrating my cat, with fixing her. I didn't do it because of my own, like, selfish thing. I did it after she had kittens, and I have videos with those kittens, because I had such a trouble placing them to homes. And if she's my cat, if I'm feeding it, if I'm giving it shelter, then it's my responsibility. And if she has a litter and I cannot provide for those kittens also, then they are also my responsibility. So yeah, that's why I did it.
Right, so I'm just saying you made an ethical calculation of what the right thing to do is. And I'm just saying if I'm going to do this ethical math, it makes much more sense to humanely euthanize an animal before it gets sick.
I don't believe that if I am the intelligent one in a bunch with other species, I simply have the right to do with them whatever I want, to end their life whenever I want. I think that if they are my responsibility, it's my duty to do my best for them. If they are sick, it's my duty to freaking take care of them and help them. But that's like the end of my authority there.
Well, I'm just saying, then, what is your authority in competition with? So you're saying that you don't have authority. So what does? What has the overriding authority? A natural system that has no brain. I'm saying, well, that's a religion then. If you think that natural system with no brain somehow has greater competence than you have, then you have basically assigned it godlike capacity. All right? Because somehow you think it knows better than you. So if you think something that hasn't demonstrated any intelligence knows better than you, that might as well be voodoo. You might as well be rolling dice. You might as well just roll a dice and say, I'll let the dice decide. I'll throw some bones and let the bones decide. Sounds like religion to me.
No, Gary, if I fell from a tree and my back is broken, I would want somebody to take me to the hospital. That's why I'm taking care of this chick. Because this is what I would want to. I wouldn't want somebody to end my life before I get sick just because he's more intelligent than me. You know, he's a superior force, and he decides for me what's best for me before I even need any type of help. That's abuse.
Well, I'm sorry. I will acquiesce. If there's something more intelligent than me, I'll let them make decisions for me. I'd be perfectly satisfied with that equation. So if something can demonstrate that it's more intelligent, that it knows the truth, that it's more logical, I'm perfectly comfortable with that kind of judgment being imposed. It's only rational to allow the smart thing. We don't let the retard in the family run the family.
How would you
right?
know if it was smarter? How would you know if it was smarter, though? If you
well, we know. In this case, Pyro. In this case, we know.
But you're never going to accept that I would.
In this case, we know, Pyro. Okay, that we have a higher IQ than a cat. We know that.
All right. Well, I just actually wanted to bring up something that was prevalent in a recent case that I don't know. Well, I'm sure everybody here heard of the Scott Peterson and Carrie Peterson case. She was, I forget how many months pregnant, and she was more than legal to have an abortion. And when Scott Peterson killed her, he got tried and got indicted and convicted of killing 2 people. They considered the baby a person. And the same people they did a poll on were 90% pro-choice, where at any point in time she was actually able to have an abortion, and that baby was not considered a person. So where is the line drawn where if somebody's going to kill a woman that's pregnant, it's considered murder by two people?
I think it's a stupid example.
Or she
I
got
think it's a
abortion or
stupid
something.
example,
No, it's very,
Bandit. Okay, because it only is done as a dignity to the fucking murdered person. Okay, it was her child that he took from her. He not only took her life, he took her life with her child from her. Okay, he took her future with her daughter from her. Okay, and as a dignity to the fucking victim, we decide to say we're going to count your daughter as a person because you stole that future from her. All right, that's all it's about. It's about giving people a little bit of fucking dignity who have been fucking murdered by a selfish motherfucking cunt. And you really should be able to figure that out on your own.
There's also a recognition there that there's a further crossing the line, not because of the innate of the person, but that you're crossing up a numerous social and cultural lines on murder and then murdering a woman when they're pregnant. So it's completely different. It's aimed at the person, not the.
She's technically a mother, okay? She hasn't given birth yet, but she's technically a mother because she has decided not to abort. She has decided to have the child. It's her child, and she's been robbed of that. I don't know. Like I said, let's not go into it. It's just a stupid fucking point that just distracts from the real conversation, which is, theoretically, if I suffocate a 2-year-old in the middle of the night, okay, people keep dragging this up like it means something, but I'm just using this as a thought experiment. All right, I suffocate it in the middle of the night. It's asleep. It never knows what hit it. It never knows what happened. All right, nothing in its consciousness is absorbed that any event took place. What is the real crime if the parents are both dead, or the parents were killed in a plane crash the night before? So the kid belongs to no one. There's no one who has a personal interest in its welfare, like where they're going to be hurt if it's missing, that they're going to notice it's missing. Okay, I have it. No one knew the parents had the kid. I suffocate it. What's the ethical crime? Not the moral crime. It's not about Jesus or God or right or wrong by some kind of bullshit social cultural standard. I'm just saying, as an ethical act, okay, has anything been harmed?
You're abusing the power you have, and you're not using this power in order to help somebody. You're not using it to, minimize suffering. You're just using it because you can.
Well, I'm not going to argue. I'm an anti-natalist, as you might have realized, okay? So I personally think the crime is to impose life, all right, without permission. So I'm just undoing somebody else's imposition, somebody else's irresponsible arrogance to think they have the authority to create human beings, to conduct Frankenstein experiments. So I'm just undoing the Frankenstein experiment.
Gary, I agree exactly what you said. I mean, I agree 100%, but I was just saying, like, where's the line drawn where...
I'm just saying define the harm. Don't give me a moral argument about what my authority is, or what my moral authority is, or what I'm capable of making a judgment about. I'm saying describe to me the harm.
Well, to me, the harm is that there is a web of life that I am related to.
This is bullshit. This is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Anyway,
Web of life is not an
You
answer.
have to make sure. No, shut up. Come on, give me a chance to say something. You know that the cats need to be euthanized, like on my island here, there's 1 million of them, or however many. There's like 10 times as much per capita as most places because they can live in the jungle. Okay, we know that there's reasons to say that you need to euthanize. But the reason it's not just okay is because you screw up the ecosystem and you have to judge case by case.
Well, this is a case by case. The ecosystem is not dependent on this 2-year-old child, okay? I'm giving you a thought experiment, and again, you just break the experiment. There's no ecosystem dependent on this. There's no web of life. There's no Gaia going to scream. I'm asking what's the real harm.
Oh, how many cases like that are there where the
I'm not asking for, I'm not making anything out of this. I'm asking a simple question. What is the real harm? Describe the harm.
You're taking a sentient creature's life on your volition.
Harm. Describe the ouch, the ooh, the negative conscious experience that will take place because of the event.
Removing its power of choice, that is harmful.
Well, I'm not going to argue. It didn't have a power of choice. It's 2 years old. It obviously didn't choose to exist. So again, I'm going to argue I'm only undoing what somebody else imposed.
It's an assumption to say life in itself.
Come on, let me say something, please. Okay, so first of all, you're not talking about a kitten. You're talking about a 2-year-old child. You're not God. You don't foresee the future. You don't know what kind of experience this kid will have. It doesn't matter that if it's an orphanage. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe he will grow up to invent some kind of source of light. Maybe he will, source of energy, sorry. Maybe he will grow up to be a criminal. You don't know that. You're cutting off somebody else's experience based on your ideology.
No, I'm not cutting off their experience. Their experience is irrelevant, okay? Their experience is irrelevant, all right? They're not going to have an experience. I just ended their experience, okay? So they can't be harmed. They're gone. They don't exist, all right? So there's no harm. There's no pain and suffering and anguish and missing and longing and wanting. None of that will exist. All I've done is ended the addiction for this one individual that was started by somebody else's arrogance. Somebody else decided to inject life into it. I just merely said that was arrogant. I'm taking the injection out. Okay? So I just undid what somebody else started. And again, you're going with this stupid moral authority argument, which has absolutely no meaning to me. Okay? I'm an atheist. All right? Natural selection is a dumb force. Okay? The DNA molecule is a dumb molecule. The fact that we even exist in this stupid, idiotic, I'm going to go out into the world, consume, shit, and reproduce is nonsense.
Exactly, when I'm talking about authority. When I'm talking about authority, I'm saying that you don't have the authority just because you're smarter. Nobody has the authority.
What else creates authority? What else creates authority? How do you earn a driver's license? It's because you have competence. It's because you've acquired the necessary information to be able to control the vehicle. I, by all standards, have more necessary knowledge and understanding than a DNA molecule. I could kick its fucking ass on almost any test, I bet. Almost any. I'm pretty damn sure I'm going to score higher than a DNA molecule.
You're earning a driving license. You're taking a driving. You're earning a driving license to have a car, not to have another person in.
To have the right to go out to the highway and potentially run people over with a 4-ton vehicle. Oh yeah, that's no fucking power whatsoever. Driving is huge amount of power. Okay, let's not pretend that's not power. You have the power to destroy somebody's life with a fucking car on the fucking highway by being even a tiny bit irresponsible. So let's not sit there and say that isn't a powerful imposition. It is. And it's earned by passing a fucking test. I'm saying I passed the driver's test over the DNA molecule. If there's going to be two things that are going to make the decision, either the DNA molecule and natural selection or me, I win.
But your
I never said there is anything. Let me answer.
Your action is based on a presumption that the sentient being that you're killing sees it as an imposition.
No. My
You're
action
making
is
it.
based on the fact that I only believe there's only one thing that's bad, and that is conscious angst, discomfort, unpleasantness, suffering, pain, whatever you want to describe it as. Okay, that's the only thing that's bad in the universe. Okay, so if it doesn't create any of that, how can the act be bad?
Because you're removing that free agent from action.
Again, that has to do with some kind of social contract kind of bullshit, like there's something respectable in the innate nature of these organisms, these DNA molecules, to perpetuate themselves. That has no innate validity. Okay, it's a fucking construct of a DNA molecule. All right, I don't acquiesce to a construct of a DNA molecule.
Okay, so first, back with the example with the car. I would never be the person to make a moral argument for why we have driver's license. If you're talking on an ethical level, I don't think we have the right to drive cars, if you're considering what we are doing to the environment, to everything else around us. I think it's the better choice out of the two choices.
Surgeon. You have to pass a test to be a surgeon.
Let me
No, well, I'm sorry, this wasn't an answer. Again, you just fucked everything up, okay? Now you're going to pretend that this is a rational response to the fact that people earn the right to drive by passing a test, and now you're going to say people shouldn't have the right to drive. I mean, whatever.
No, I simply answered your insinuation that I would make moral arguments for people having driver's license, because you compared the two. You compared the right to end somebody's life with the right to have a driver's license.
I talked about how authority is acquired. That's what I talked about. How do we acquire authority? We pass a fucking test.
Okay, I'm again telling you that in this situation of your life and somebody else's life or another species' life or whatever, there is no authority. There is no way to gain authority.
No, that's just religion. Sorry, that's Thunderfoot religion, okay? Default to the DNA molecule and natural selection. Because it was here first, it has authority. That is nonsense. Rubbish. Gibberish. You might as well say, I have to acquiesce to Mary Had a Little Lamb, or the Three Pigs. You're saying I have to acquiesce to a dumb, material, chemical event. Bullshit. I'm smarter than a DNA molecule. I say it again. I'm smarter than a DNA molecule.
Okay, somebody is in the next room, so there is one thing, that obstructs with my fucking monologues, and the other thing is that you keep on interrupting me. I cannot slip in a word.
Because you're just talking religion. I might as well talk to a creationist. You're just fucking talking religion. What authority do I have to answer to? A DNA molecule? Natural selection? 4 billion years of nonsensical carnage? What about this life thing can you defend? Why do I need authority to kill when these assholes don't need any authority to produce a living thing? They can inject life. I can't end life? What sense does that make?
Both are thoughtless.
Well, they're not both thoughtless. This is my whole fucking point here. Alright, I'm applying a thought. I'm saying I know it's in your best interest to be humanely put out of your misery before your misery even shows up. Okay? If I kill you the day before you're diagnosed with terminal fucking pancreatic vomit everyday cancer, I've done you a favor, haven't I, fucker? I've done you a fucking favor.
Yes, but we're talking about a healthy situation.
We're talking about something that can't miss it. There's nothing lost. It has no dreams, aspirations, hopes, ambitions. None of that shit exists.
You're still removing the potential.
I'm just saying, I'm not removing anything that exists. There's anything that's real. It's all unrealized and we have absolutely no evidence that it's good potential. We have just as much evidence that it's bad potential. Okay? And in that mixed bag, why would you take the risk of the bad potential when the good potential has no value? We know the world, the planet Earth would not be a better place if it had 14 billion people on it, would it? Would by some rational math, would you assholes say planet Earth would be twice as kick-ass if it had 14 billion people? Let's say we could feed and clothe and house all of them. Would it make a fucking difference? If there was only 3 billion people on Earth, would everybody be going, oh shit, I sure missed those other 3 billion people? Where the fuck are they? Oh, I missed the shit out of those 3 billion. Oh, I'm going to go cry in my fucking pillow because there's 3 billion people missing. Nobody would do that. There is no harm. So if 3 billion people on planet Earth disappeared and nobody missed them, there would be no fucking harm.
You're mixing up
just an
both things.
example. This is an entire bigger picture thing. Oh,
More fundamental. Something that's a free agent is different than you're saying what could be. You're removing the possibility of the choice. You're saying that no hand could be dished based on your
well, by that argument, we could go back to the day of conception, and we could say that somehow I'm denying a choice when I don't let my sperm meet an egg. Okay, I haven't denied anybody their choice or anything like that. Okay, again, you haven't described the harm. All you're talking about is something theoretical or possible. All right, so then you might as well start talking about every sperm I haven't allowed to fertilize an egg, and tell me about how it's missing its potential. Well, it's the same argument, Lefty. You haven't described a real harm. You've only described an imaginary possible harm. Again, the 2-year-old has no defined ambition, no desire, no goals, no any of that shit. All it knows is feel good, feel bad. That's all it knows.
okay, please just let me say something without interrupting me, and I swear this is the last word I'm gonna say on this fucking issue, but please don't talk over me because I cannot take this shit anymore. When you decide for a 2-year-old, you know, to kill it without any reason to it, just because you think in the end it will save him some suffering or whatever, this is not just one example. This is an entire bigger picture where you're taking authority from intelligence over other lives. This means fucking Hitler, okay? This means that you can decide over the handicap.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Whatever criteria.
Hitler? I'm not putting up with this Hitler shit. Okay? I'm not eating this 2-year-old. I'm not fucking the 2-year-old. I'm not using the 2-year-old. I'm making a calculation that's better off dead than in this shithole of a fucking cunt world. Alright? I'm telling you what's the real fucking harm. You're not describing the real harm. You're to explain to me how I have to acquiesce to an authority. That I don't have the authority, that the 2-year-old has the authority, or the dirt has the authority, or the fucking dice have the authority, or the bones have the authority. You're not giving me a fucking answer. You're just giving me a goddamn euthanasia, eugenics Hitler crap.
But what is your criteria? What is your criteria? Why kill people over what?
Because I don't give a fuck about how long something lives. I don't give a fuck whether you live 10,000 years or 5 million years or 2 years. What I care about is the quality of your fucking life. And my point in this whole fucking discussion is that is the real value. What is the quality of the conscious experience on planet Earth? That's the only thing that matters, is the quality of the conscious experience being experienced. It doesn't matter who's experiencing it. It doesn't matter how fucking long they live. It only matters what the quality of their existence is. That's the only thing that has any value in this fucking universe. And you fucking assholes worrying about whether something is alive or dead aren't getting it. This is 4 billion years of evolution, assholes. This personal shit doesn't mean anything. It's consciousness and the capacity to feel that is the only thing that means anything. Life means nothing.
I just have a quick question. And maybe this is something that I'm the only person who has wondered about. But has anyone ever noticed that people who are pro-population reduction aren't the ones volunteering to remove themselves from the planet?
Well, yeah, there's no point in it, asshole. How exactly do they change the world by killing themselves? I wouldn't be in this room making an argument if I was dead, would I? I wouldn't be stopping my future birth by being dead, would I? No, I would be pretty ineffective in convincing you fucking sluts to quit having fucking kids if I was fucking dead.
Okay, just to end this fucking because now I'm really not gonna say anything more. No, let me just please. I just want to say from my own point of view, I don't see my ruling over other wildlife, over other animals as authority. I see it as a responsibility. If it is in pain, if it needs help, it is my responsibility to provide it because I do have the intelligence to understand that it does need help. But beyond that, anything else, I consider it abuse.
So, yeah, preventing a birth would be the wrong thing to do then, by that crap logic. If you prevented something from existing, that would be the same thing as killing it. So you think there should be as many animals as possible. As many animals as we can cram onto this fucking planet would be the way to go, because we shouldn't prevent a single life. We should save every bird that falls out of every nest, so there should be twice as many birds, so we can have twice as many falling out of nests. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, I think that all the distraction we given to the wildlife kind of makes up for, trying to save a bird. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the destruction how? Again, we save the whales, we will farm the whales. How are the seals better off? We have saved the fucking seals. Are they better off? No, they're worse off. They're farmed. 250,000 a year.
Well, if we cause the destruction of the seals and their endangerment in the first place, I do see it.
Well, nature sucks is the part you're missing here. They're not doing well in nature. Nature fucking sucks. It gives a possum a 3-year lifespan. Okay, living in a shit environment is ill-equipped to live in. Okay, they live here. They can't even live in the environment. They don't hibernate over the winter. Their tails freeze the fuck off. What the fuck is that for a life? It only exists because DNA molecules are dumb, and you assholes are just saying, we have to listen to the DNA. The DNA made it, so we can't kill it. What a pile of crap! It should be fucking extinct.
And again, we're going back to this authority bullshit because I don't see it. How fucking I have the authority to decide for other
I'm not going to
species
keep arguing
if
it.
they live or not.
I'm not going to keep arguing it, okay? You might as well say God says I can't.
What you're saying, God says I can. You're just making this criteria of intelligence. Fuck intelligence.
Yeah, fuck
If
intelligence.
is
Exactly. Exactly. You know how fucking brilliant that is? Fuck intelligence. The only attribute that makes us worthy of any consideration whatso fucking ever, and you're saying fuck it. Brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, it's just so fucking brilliant. Fuck intelligence. Fuck being logical. Let the DNA own the fucking universe. I mean, let's just hand the reins over. Just hand them over to the DNA molecule. Again, do you have a mantra? Do you have any rituals to your God, the DNA? Okay, do you pray to it? It apparently is, it's so fucking brilliant. It is so perfect in its structure, in its mechanism of the life imposition mechanism, that there's no way our logic could defeat the power, the magnificence, the beauty of this brilliant idea of consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction. No, that's just too fucking brilliant.
Right right now you're just fucking screaming over me and distracting arguments that I have never ever made, because I never said fuck intelligence, period. I said fuck intelligence as a criteria to decide which species
Same
lives
difference.
or which individual lives based on that alone.
Yeah,
This is
right.
what I'm
Roll
saying.
bones. Roll the bones. Right. Roll the bones. Let's ask the bumps on my fucking head what to do. Yeah, that would be a real smart thing to do. Let's ask something dumb. Let's go ask rocks what the right thing to do is.
There is not for me to decide if a 2-year-old...
Who the fuck is supposed to decide then? Leave it to the fucking DNA. Right. Throw the 2-year-old in the DNA's lap and say, here, Mr. DNA, take care of this 2-year-old. Because I'm too stupid. I don't have a brain. I can't apply logic and judgment to this decision. So you, Mr. DNA, please take care of the 2-year-old. You would let a DNA molecule babysit a 2-year-old.
Your mic was closed.
The point is you're handing a baby over to a DNA molecule. You're saying, okay, I'm going to hire the DNA molecule to be a babysitter. And you're calling that responsible. Well, what else are you doing? You just keep saying it. You don't have authority. Then what has authority? What is more intelligent than you? Oh, intelligence doesn't matter. That doesn't make any sense. Of course intelligence matters. You don't fucking build buildings that stand up without intelligence. You don't do anything reasonable or decent in this fucking world without intelligence.
And again, I never said that intelligence doesn't matter. I said that intelligence doesn't matter as a criteria in me determining if somebody
It's the
next
only
to me lives or
fucking
dies.
time it does matter. What the fuck else is intelligence for? Designing fucking shoes? Oh yeah, it's much more important that we use intelligence to design proper shoes, and we won't use intelligence on the most important subject in the fucking universe. There we will apply no intelligence, but on all this superficial bullshit, yeah, we'll waste it on that.
Yeah, it would be really intelligent to go around killing kids. This is what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, theoretically, it would be really intelligent not to fucking have them.
You cut off.
Look, it'd be intelligent not to fucking have them. Again, you're just missing
Or
the
your
fucking point. No, it's probably just lag, but it doesn't fucking matter. Okay? I didn't create the children. Who created them? Oh, that's right. Arrogant motherfucking assholes who think they have control, who think they have the power to impose life. So again, this problem would not exist. The 2-year-old would not exist unless there was some irresponsible asshole who imposed the life.
Look, let me give you this scenario. If I had a kid, and my kid turned out to be sick, and it had cancer, and it was suffering, and euthanasia is illegal, and it would die, you know, in a while, suffering, I think it would be my responsibility to kill it, yes, because I created him. But I don't think it's my responsibility to kill something that I have no idea what his life is gonna be. I have no business messing with him.
I'm not going to argue with you. Nothing else has any more business, okay? I described the circumstance. Its parents are dead. It has no owners. It has no attachments. All there is my judgment and its fate. Period. Nothing else.
And you're precluding that possibility. And the only thing that's informing you in that decision is what could be argued as consciousness.
Well, again, you're just going back to the same argument, okay? It has no ambitions, okay? No rationally cognitive, respectable aspirations or ambitions. So I'm not stealing any accomplishment from it or any desire or any of that shit, okay? It has none of that shit. And again, I described it. It'll be an instantaneous death. It'll never know it happened. It'll never just wake up. It'll go to sleep and never wake up. I'm asking you to tell me what the real harm is. And all you're describing to me is that somehow I violated its potentiality. And I can just argue with you forever about potentialities. And again, then I can argue about my trillion sperm. I have a trillion on my thing. I think I actually have a trillion of them. And how they all are aspiring to create a potentiality.
And again, I'm saying that the only interference I see as acceptable within other life is when you're trying to help. Okay, this is the only interference.
Well, what else is my motivation? What else is my motivation? So again, you're just going to sit there and somehow argue that it's not helping. How is it hurting? I'm not killing it because I want to murder it for the fun of it. Okay? I don't profit from its death. I'm just making the decision as a logical Vulcan what's the right thing to do.
And how are you helping a 2-year-old by killing him when you have no idea?
Again, killing him is in itself is kind of ugly language. So at least we should use words like euthanize, or humanely put down, or put to sleep, or end its potentiality, or some other rhetoric, okay? Because I'm not beating it over the head with a club, all right? That's part of the thought experiment here. It's a harmless death. What have I done? What angst, what conscious negative experience will be endured because of what I have done? That's what I want you to explain to me. What negative conscious experience have I created by doing that act? And you will not come up with an explanation of any conscious harm.
I don't see any action being justifiable.
For fucking 2 hours.
You're just making the authority argument again.
Where does cause and effect, if you're a fucking determinist, where does that fall under the fucking argument? Because if so, this argument doesn't even fucking exist because it's...
Yeah, well, I kicked Bandit. But anyway, you're just making the same argument again. You just keep making this authority argument. I've argued it and argued it. We just go around in circles.
No, I'm not going to mention authority. What I'm saying
describe
is that
the harm.
I don't see a justification to perform an action.
I don't care. That's not the... You're again. That's the fucking authority again. Justification is authority. You can't separate those two words. Justification provides authority. You're again arguing authority. I'm asking you to describe fucking harm.
I'm not describing authority, I'm describing actions, and if I cannot speak, I will go away.
Go away. Go the fuck away. Go the fuck away, you creationist loopy nut. Go the fuck away. Authority. You have my authority to leave. I give you the authority to leave. I asked for a definition of harm. Harm!
There you go, you want arguments, you can be happy.
Oh, I want a definition of the fucking harm!
Your presumption.
Sorry, not even close. How is a conscious entity harmed by my action? How does a consciousness experience harm?
Gary, what did you experience?
A consciousness that is alive. How does a consciousness in the living state in some way harmed by the action?
You may experience some sort of emotional repercussion for what you just did.
That's pointlessly idiotic, okay? Vulcans, number one, don't even have motherfucking emotions, retard.
Wait,
Gary, you just went too geeky there. You're not allowed to argue factual from Star Trek.
Well, I already did. That was part of the thought experiment, is that I'm a fucking Vulcan!
I find it convincing, but, well, I missed that part. I was buying cigarettes in my right.
I'm obviously part polar bear, but I am Vulcan. Cranky polar bear.
Okay, since I cannot give you my answer, can I ask you a question? Can I do this, that?
It's going to be another authority question. But go ahead, ask a question.
If a woman is in coma in the hospital and she gets raped by the staff and by everybody who wants to, and she's not aware of what's happening, what's
exploitation? Exploitation's the harm.
She's not aware of nothing.
He has exploited her. He has
What's
exploited her for his desire. Again, I am not killing the fucking kid for my own pleasure. Damn it, can't you? This is a really simple thought experiment. It only has about 5 fucking variables, and you keep fucking cheating. I gain nothing.
Your hypothesis is that actions, you perform an action, and you ask what's the harm in it. This is not how actions are performed. You don't ask what's the harm in crushing a bug if I sit on the street. You ask what's the purpose of it. Why do I do this?
Again, the purpose has been explained. From an antinatalist perspective, this would be the Vulcan right thing to do. There'd be absolutely no point in subjecting the child to unnecessary harm. Harm it doesn't need to experience. It has no desire to fulfill. It itself cannot possibly be harmed by not existing. You can't harm something that doesn't exist. All right? I'm only undoing somebody else's mistake. And I'm doing it in a manner that's entirely harmless. So I'm just saying, until you answer the question of what conscious entity will experience a negative sensation because of what I have done, you haven't provided me one value ingredient that I can possibly use to say I would be wrong to do it.
How about
I can give the example of several actions that will do no harm. Well, the entity in question will suffer nothing. Will have no fucking conscious pain of any kind. You could put a retarded kid under a dose of sleeping pills and you don't do anything to him.
It's
because
a violation of the
reasons,
social
right?
contract. Well, what, do you want me to say that it's okay for somebody to rape a woman in a coma? Okay? Theoretically, it's correct. There would be no fucking harm. Okay? But as a civilization, we don't take from each other. That's part of the contract. So again, you're going to argue a part of this thought experiment they have already eliminated by saying the individual gains nothing. He is only attempting to do the right thing, okay? Period. That's only what he's trying to do. He's not trying to take anything. All right? So quit using examples that have to do with taking.
I use another example. Somebody wants to find the cure for I don't know what type of cancer, right? To save I don't know how many kids from suffering. And for this, he performs, different types of experiments on other children that are sedated, that are put in a coma artificially, and they feel nothing. There is no harm done to them. And still it's wrong, and it's wrong. It's an abuse.
Well, if they feel no pain, they can suffer no harm, then I'm sorry. It's not an abuse. It means nothing. You can only hurt sentient creatures. If it's not sentient, there's no fucking harm. If we harvested human flesh off of brainless bodies, okay, there would be no crime committed.
Harm isn't the
So, okay, I'm just going to use your logic here, Gary. If pain is harm, then the very real evidence that the preborn child feels pain would cause it harm.
preborn. I'm not talking
Right?
about a preborn
It's
child.
very
No, no, I'm not going to talk about
No.
preborn children. I'm talking about a 2-year-old child who's a fucking asleep. And I'm just going to put it permanently asleep, and it will feel nothing.
It's not about what it would feel. Harm isn't the equivalent of pain.
Harm is, yes, I'm sorry, that's my premise. I'm sorry, if you have some other explanation for how there can be harm when some sentient creature does not have a conscious experience of unpleasantness, then I think you're an idiot.
Then your argument, though, I don't see how it goes. If we had perfect painkillers, then we don't need to.
Pain, okay, so that's perfect nausea control, or how did you say it before, Violet? Nauseation, or whatever the fuck it was. So you have to control all kinds of pain, Pyro. It's not just pain, okay? There's all kinds of suffering that we experience, all kinds of irritating experiences. Some people hear noises in their ears. Some people have other kinds of sensations that are very uncomfortable. All right, so you have to have a pill for all of those things. And I'm arguing, if you have a pill for all of those things, people will just keep taking the fucking pills. All right, that's all they'll do all day. Because guess what? Those pills are going to be ecstasy. That's what they're going to be. They're going to be a super drug. And people will do absolutely nothing but eat the super drug. Try it on an animal first, Pyro. Let's do some laboratory experiments and give your super pill to rats. And let's just see what rats will do. How quickly they'll starve to death because they'll eat your fucking pills.
If someone has a gaping hole in their stomach, but it has no pain, and even if it did have pain and could be overridden by some sort of painkiller, that's completely beside the point that they have a hole in their stomach which causes them harm. Clearly harm isn't the same as...
That argument only has meaning if you're going to judge it based on how long something lives. If you're going to place value on the length of life, okay, then you can say it causes harm, okay? I'm saying that isn't mean anything. Whether you live 45 days, 45 years, or 45 million years, it doesn't matter. All that matters is the amount of consciousnesses that are conscious and the overall quality of the experience of the consciousness. It doesn't matter how often we're replaced or how infrequently we're replaced. It doesn't matter who's experiencing it. It just matters that the sensation is experienced. So I place no value on the length of life. That means nothing to me. All that matters is the quality of the experience.
Well, two things. First of all, this goes back to the age-old philosophical question of what is the good life. That clearly length plays into that. But even conceding...
I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to concede that premise. So, fuck you. Go ahead, try your second point.
Okay, well, I will concede to your premise that length is irrelevant. Even so, if I have a hole in my stomach, that clearly has reprimands on my functionality, on my body.
Well, then it must be causing you suffering, then. It must be causing you a discomfort. If it's not causing you a discomfort and the length of your life is irrelevant, I'm sorry, there's no harm.
If I experience no pain because of painkillers, yet I still have a tear in my stomach, clearly there is still harm.
No, you're going to keep arguing it, and I'm saying if you can still do everything you want to do, you can still go golfing or do whatever the fuck you want to do, then there's no harm. If you're saying it's limiting your functionality to the point where it's taking away from you your joy, and that like you eat potato chips and they fly out the hole or something, it makes a mess that you have to clean up, and you don't like cleaning up the mess, well then it's a harm, asshole. You're not getting it. Then it's a consciously unpleasant experience. But as long as it's not a consciously unpleasant experience, and the length of your life is irrelevant, there's no harm.
Clearly, length has a certain effect, but even that aside, functionality is more or less what the measure of harm should
That's,
be.
again, it's the only thing functionality has to do with is that it makes you uncomfortable if you're not functional, so you're not getting it. That means that it's sentient harm. That means that you are deprived or deprivated because of the injury. So describe an injury that doesn't affect your functionality, okay, then you're not going to be harmed. But obviously, if you are doing something you like to do and you can't do it anymore, that's called deprivation. That's called harm. That's sentient displeasure.
I would like to point out that pain and suffering are not synonymous. You can have pain without suffering and suffering without pain. Pain is a physiological response. Suffering is actually much more of a psychological response.
Well, what book is this written in? What book is this written in? What book is this written in? I'm using a generic term. I'm not going to split hairs, all right? I'm put words like pain, stuff. I did this before. Misery, pain, suffering, unpleasantness. Take the whole generic package of all the words you can use for a negative conscious experience. All right, and let's just throw them all in that sack. All right, so it's just as generic a term as possible I'm using here, so all this hair splitting is irrelevant.
No, it really isn't. Let me explain.
Yes, it is.
When you have if you have somebody who is in deep physical pain, that person can still have fulfillment.
Irrelevant. I'm telling you that's irrelevant. Okay? If they're in pain, that's a negative by itself, in and of itself. Okay? Whether they also at the same time are delighted that their son, just graduated the 6th grade, is irrelevant to the fact that they're in pain. Okay? We can have more than one sensation at a time, no doubt about it. But the pain isn't not pain because they're happy that their 6-year-old graduated from grammar school. Anyway, so I'm sorry. I'm just so obnoxious on this subject. But I mean, this has really gotten so crystal clear for me that I can't. I'm just getting so impatient. And I was going to be exactly the opposite. I was just going to say, okay, for the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to swear at anybody. I'm not going to call anybody any names. I'm not going to get upset by anything. And of course, total failure. But I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to get to this point where there can be a coherent argument, and I got to find the key to this coherent argument where people can get this thing, that why are we allowing this natural construct to define right and wrong? Why are we presuming that nature has some sort of knowledge about what is good for us? I mean, this is just so fucking stupid.
Any questions that deal with this should be informed by consciousness. So whether one should continue one's life or start one should be informed through a conscientious thought. That's the answer.
Well, I know, but starting one, how can you possibly take accountability or responsibility for starting one? Is that at all possible? Is it at all possible to provide a refund? Like say if you sell me a shitty TV, Lefty, right, I can take it back to you and say, this is a piece of shit, and I want my money back. All right, now are you going to be able to do that when you give somebody a shitty life?
Well,
the problem.
Hold on, really fast, directed towards me. You don't get to determine the shittiness of it. The TV does, so it's not the same.
No, 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 no. Come on, you're cheating there. Okay, the metaphor works. You just have to combine me and the TV together. Okay, I am the TV. Okay, so you know I buy my life. My life is what I ended up getting stuck with. Okay, that's what I got sold was my existence. So I am the TV.
Go ahead, Carol.
I'm just saying there's no way, right? I mean, honestly, there's no way to be truly accountable, right? You're just going to plead bankruptcy. You're just going to say, whoops, whoops, and that's going to be your accountability. There'll be none, okay? So the guy ripped off gets nothing.
No, well, they should get a right to suicide, and the problem
Well,
is
again, we're not going to argue this, Pyro. We've been down this fucking road, all right?
come on, why not?
You're not going to give the right to anybody under the age of 18, are you, you cunt? No, you're not. So they're going to have to put in 18 fucking years. 18 fucking years. They're going to get all gnarled up in this fucking thing. It's going to get harder and harder for them to get the fuck out. So that's just a bullshit argument.
No, it's not. I mean, and besides, you're making a practical complaint about it, and all of this stuff is somewhat theoretical. You can have a right to suicide, and no, I wouldn't say 18. It could be lower. I don't think 18 is a really proper age of majority necessarily for all things. So you could.
Well, I'm just saying you wouldn't be doing me. I'm just saying
I
don't want to wait 10 fucking years or 15 fucking years to take my TV back.
Well, then when? 5?
Yes, as soon as I can utter the words. If I can utter the words, this life be stupid. I don't want to do it. If I can say, don't put me on the roller coaster, Daddy, then yeah, I get out. I get off.
Well, I mean, I think as soon as you could express it, or any animal that could express that does have the right over their own life.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, we know that's not as a practical fact going to happen. So, again, we're still back to the same argument. Until you build the nest, you got no right to lay the eggs. I'm going to keep saying that to you, okay? You egg layers keep putting the eggs on branches. You won't build a decent nest, and you keep saying, I'm going to let the future build the nest. That's bullshit. Build the nest, and then lay your eggs.
I agree with standards. I have no problem with standards. Conscientiousness can inform the process, but you can't presume for all things.
Again, who's doing the presuming? Okay, it's these fucking life givers who are doing the presuming. They're the ones taking arrogant charge and saying, I have control. I have the authority to make this decision for somebody else. Fuck that.
Yes, but the taking is also doing the same thing.
It's undoing. You don't get it. All right, if I kill somebody for murdering somebody and I gave him a fair fucking trial, it's not the same thing. What I'm doing ain't murder. What I'm doing is justice. What he did is murder.
That depends on your point of view.
Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't depend on your point of view. It's a fundamental, necessary characteristic of civilized, sensible, rational, reasonable life.
Agreed, but there's a slipperiness in our practicality.
Well, I'm just saying, who's already on the wrong side of the slippery practicality problem? The life imposers, okay? They're the ones who haven't built the nest. They're not even laying the egg on a decent tree. I mean, they're laying eggs in bushes, on blades of grass, on piles of dog shit. They're not even trying to do it right. Let's steal our kids' money, because we love our children. Let's make them work in a 10-cent-a-day gulag. Yeah, that'll teach the youngins to have character.
I completely agree with the criticisms here.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, there is something really bizarre about this circumstance, okay, that it actually is hard to argue, okay, that this very negative thing of killing is somehow more ethical than this very natural, socially endorsed behavior of impregnating and producing babies. I mean, you know, I'm saying when I force you to explain the harm, you can't do it. The killing is this benign, unharmful act, and the imposing of the life is this completely obnoxious, arrogant risk-taking with somebody else's welfare.
You can't know.
And, well, the point is you can't be accountable. I don't even give a fuck about you knowing. I'm just saying you can't fix it. All right? So if you fuck it up, there's no way to fix it. Okay? It's done. There's no resolution. There's no justice. There's no payback. There's nothing.
But that indicates the weakness of the fundamental concepts that are being applied onto reality.
But whatever, I'm just saying we should be kicking parents who fail in the nuts. Over and over and over again. We could kick them in the nuts every like half hour. We should kick them in the nuts, kick them in the nuts, kick them in the nuts.
It's a good campaign slogan.
Yeah, everybody who voted for Ronald Reagan. We should find out everybody who voted for Ronald Reagan. We should kick them in the nuts.
Just saying, I think the majority of people in this room were not capable of voting in '84 or '80.
Well, I'm just saying, when they see all these old fucks getting kicked in the nuts, okay, it'll scare the shit out of the rest of you people. And you'll be like, holy shit, I better watch what the fuck I'm doing or I'm going to never get kicked in the nuts when I'm 65.
Because voting for Obama was such a good idea.
Yeah, well, that. At least, see, Obama, he lied, okay? Reagan didn't lie. He really didn't. I mean, Ronald Reagan was drawing cartoon crayon pictures in his campaign. I mean, he didn't lie to anybody. He was completely pointing out that here's a three-pig story. Even in his speech, he talked about the shiny city on a hill. He said that shit. Okay? It wasn't like that was a lie. It was just preposterous nonsense. He was like, I'm going to give you the golden goose. That's right, we're going to have golden eggs forever and ever. But I'm going to float all the boats. That's right, all the boats are going to float. I mean, it was complete rubbish. And people bought it. Obama lied through his fucking teeth. I'm a Democrat. See, I'm a black man, so I must be a Democrat. Don't be thinking about Clarence Thomas. I ain't no fucking Clarence Thomas. My name is Obama Sama, and I'm not going to fuck you. Yeah, fuck you.
Maybe a slap on the wrist for Obama.
Yeah, lying cunt. We ought to have a guillotine just for him. Build one out of the Washington Monument. We ought to turn the Washington Monument into a giant guillotine. Well, there's no point in doing the who's better than who thing. I mean, really. Well, cat shit is a lot better than dog shit. No, it sucks, okay? Especially when you're expecting it to drive the bus. Alright, it really doesn't matter. Oh yes, dog shit is probably better than cat shit, but both of them can't drive the bus.
Harry, what was the problem with everybody just popping pills like in a brave new world, keeping themselves happy? Exactly what's the argument with that? Because it seems like any argument is like quality of life related and not objective value of painful suffering related.
Well, there's no point in it if it has a downside risk. So if you got some sort of perfect equation where you can do all this thing without creating the negative deprivation first, I mean, I really don't think you can create happiness without deprivation first, in my opinion. You got to know pain before you can know pleasure. I think that's just a practical fact of how our brains work. But let's just say you could do that. What would be the point of it? Again, we're back to the argument. Somehow the universe needs 10 trillion penises. If we could make like penis planet, like a whole planet just covered with penises ejaculating all day, would there really be a point in doing that?
Well, I mean, no, except for you could do it to the point where finally you said, this pain I can take, so I know what the fuck I'm experiencing. But yeah, it'd be kind of, I mean, I'm with you in the sense that, yeah, let's, it's like I try to feel the pain. I don't run to painkillers, but that's just for ones I can handle, the little scratches and stuff. Knock me on the head, and yeah, I had Vicodin from the doctor. I'm all for that. Why not kill it down to where you still want to know. Like if you do have a broken arm, it's nice not to kill all the pain so you know when you're leaning on it, But it just has to be the dullest, most little, my intellect can interpret just a very small amount of pain sufficiently for me to be very careful.
Yeah, I'd rather just put a post-it note. Yeah, instead of a backache, a little post-it note or something. Back is bad. Be careful. That'd be fine with me. I don't need no pain. But anyway, yeah, I get your point. But I'm just saying, I'm still going to argue the life thing is kind of silly. It's only an addiction. We're addicted, right? So let's just concede we're addicted. So we're horny for the heroin and playing the game. But the point is why would you put more people in the game? Is the argument. Why would you create new little personalities so they can go through this little bullshit game? I mean, it's just silly.
There's something unique, though, in the
I would
ability
like to point out, Gary, that I was just going to say, generally speaking, the vast majority of the population is much more satisfied with life than you are.
Yeah, well, it's not even the point. Again, this is a subjective bullshit opinion, okay? Satisfied with what part of their life? Okay, I'm sure I could catch them at a moment when they're not very satisfied, okay? And I could catch them at some other moment when they're very satisfied. So this is all stupid mush about, whether I'm a happy person or a sad person. I mean, all these definitions are mush. Again, I'm going to reduce it to the conscious experience. What your opinion of conscious experiences are is pretty irrelevant. I'm saying there's positive experiences and negative experiences, and we all probably can share a common definition. Headaches suck, diarrhea sucks, this sucks, that sucks, this feels good, that's fun, this is fun. We're going to agree on all that basic structure. The only thing we're disagreeing about is what has value. And what I'm saying is the reason why anything has any value, positive value, is because we desire it. It's our addiction, because we're here in the game chasing, and that's how we've been designed. We're designed to chase. We're not designed to not chase. We're designed to want and chase. And why would you create a want?